This program is brought to you by Emory University.
I've been giving it, I think it's closing in on 30 years now, every summer. And the reason I began was because I was the director of the Psychological Counseling Center at Emory at the time. And one of the things that we tried to do was to do some sort of community psychology, reaching out to try and provide information that would help prevent problems before they occurred. There are two kinds of parents that we talk about, and this is not in a pejorative sense, but I think it's descriptive. And one of the helicopter parents who are sort of hovering and sort of watching over the children and are ready to sort of land at a moment's notice and involve themselves in the solution of the problems that arise. The other is called the stealth parent. And the stealth parent is the one that we don't know is there. And neither does the child. They're not hovering. But if a problem arises, they sort of swoop in from nowhere. Their responsibility is to encourage, and their responsibility is to tolerate ambiguity and to be more patient with the pace at which problems are solved. Modern parents are used to getting things done bang. It doesn't work that way developmentally. Things take time. Mistakes need to be made. Failure is not a bad thing. The freshman year, they're going to be pretty much the same as they were at the beginning intellectually at the end. You're going to start seeing some dramatic shifts intellectually in their sophomore years and junior years. But the first year, they're sort of high school students at college. When they come home for Thanksgiving break or vacations and they have changed their hours and they're staying up until 3 in the morning and the family just, sort of closing up the doors at 11 o'clock and checking to be sure the lights are out, and the kids are going out. And they change their way of living. They change their diets. They change all sorts of things. And the expectation that that's going to happen, I think, helps the parents to absorb that. I think you have to pick your moments. The fact that a child doesn't text you every day doesn't mean that something terrible is going on. Usually the child then is involved in something else. I think that an email now and again is a good thing. I think even a handwritten letter or a card is a nice thing. Even in its being a strange experience, it can kind of stand out as something special. So when parents leave, I always say to them, think carefully about what you're going to say to your child. Think of the parting words that will be stamped with the power of this moment. In other words, will you say, here's my advice, always make your bed? It's probably a low-level bit of information. What you want to talk about, actually, is something that is big, life messages. Be a moral person. Be a good person. They have an adjustment that might take not weeks or months, but years to deal with. And I talk about that and talk about what they should expect and what's going to sort of normal. Lots of crying, lots of sort of sense of what are we going to do now. And there's also a relief. There's no question about that. Because raising children can be difficult, and challenging, especially high school kids. I've been involved in medical tests over in the hospital where right in the middle of a test where I'm involved in some sort of terrible, embarrassing situation. Somebody says, I went to the parent lecture you gave. I go, isn't that nice? So I sort of, if I am liken this to throwing a stone into a pond, the ripples sort of go out pretty far, and then sometimes they bounce back from the shore, and they do come back. And when they come back, it's really a wonderful thing, and it warms my heart. It really does.
The preceding program is copyrighted by Emory University.